Hey everyone, Chloe here, and welcome back to this feminine platform and welcome back to this channel. And if you are new here, ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers, welcome. Now, I wanted to unpack my thoughts from a feminine perspective and to start a very necessary conversation on the masculine decision making of NFL Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, who is otherwise known as Coach Prime, that has caused a complete polarized uproar on social media with black people. Now, as many of you already know, Coach Prime most recently accepted a bigger money bag offer to become the head coach at Colorado State University, a Division I school, which would result in him parting ways with Jackson State University, which is an HBCU. And for those of you who don't know, an HBCU stands for a historically black college and or university. And Coach Prime's personal decision to leave for greener pastures understandably caused outrage, hurt feelings, conflicted feelings, boo tomatoes, triggered feelings of abandonment, and feelings of betrayal, and has raised a lot of important conversation questions such as how much of your personal and professional life do you owe your community? And questions such as, is it selfish to put yourself and your family first? Should black people deny themselves opportunities to make other black people happy? Now, from my womanhood point of view, Coach Prime stepped into his masculinity. He stepped into his leadership, which is a thing that women complain about all the time about men. And he did what most feminine women love to see. He stepped out on faith. He made the sacrifice, and he poured his heart and soul into a struggling, historically underfunded university when many NFL commentators and retired NFL players and thought leaders such as Channing Crowder of The Pivot, who are accustomed to clowning and sitting on the sidelines with a whole lot of mouth. And don't get me wrong, I love what The Pivot is doing. I love Channing Crowder's sense of humor. But these are the people who from the jump advised Coach Primetime into not taking this assignment in the first place. And in many ways, Coach Prime was warned about the lack of funding. He was warned about the lackluster facilities. And he was warned that he was only one man and that black Division I talent deserves better. And he was fed this message by many doubters. As we all know, historically black colleges, and by extension the black community, has always wholesale struggled to support itself and to support its talent. And we all know that historically black colleges are drained of top tier talent because HBCUs are lacking in their funding and are lacking in their private funding. And when you start to understand basic economics, they always will. Even still, Coach Prime stepped out on faith and he conducted business. He donated over half of his salary to help upgrade Jackson State's locker rooms. He got Walmart to sponsor Jackson State University, a brand new football field, and he took his team to a championship. And to my feminine listeners, this is what I call actionable masculine leadership. And let's be honest here, the black community is starved for actionable masculine leadership. And the black community not only yearns, but is also very hungry for strong black male leadership. So much so that many black people are willing to follow the voices of frauds and disgruntled charlatans who do nothing but talk down on women all day. And they are willing to follow dusty men off of a mountain cliff who actionably do nothing to improve their communities. So take note, ladies. So I do truly understand the public's feelings of frustration and betrayal because Coach Prime's masculinity and his leadership are desperately needed. But I do have 10 important points to make. And starting with number 1. And feathers will be ruffled to hear this, but you can go argue and debate with your gas station wig, or if you are a certified dusty, your mama's basement sofa. But absolutely, no one owes you their personal life forever. The people who complain the most and who complain the loudest are almost always the people who do absolutely nothing to give back to their communities, let alone their neighbor. Ladies and lurkers, if a person desires to elevate, then we must accept it. And we need to stop terrorizing people for growing and for wanting to stretch their wings, which is a very disgusting habit that I see a lot of black people practicing. Wanting to keep others in a box is not cute at all. Number 2, you cannot expect one man to carry an entire dysfunctional system on his back, and you cannot expect one man, let alone a 55-year-old man, to fix decades or over 100 years of very complicated and very complex levels of dysfunction. Last time I checked, Deion Sanders is not Superman because Superman does not exist, just like the black superwoman does not exist. And this black messiah savior mentality that some people in the black community have towards others is not only unfair, but it is also irrational. Number 3, Black people as a collective tend to get too emotionally invested in controlling others and bullying others rather than studying an elite person's movements, their mindsets, and their blueprints and applying the principles to ourselves. This is the winning mindset to have, and to expect people to remain stuck at the bottom or within the confines of struggle to please others is why our community stays on petty and stays losing on so many levels. Number 4, people in general have a very short-term memory and will always forget the sacrifices that you've made for them. And perhaps this is directly correlated to human nature. So this is not a Black thing, but most people will always have a "what have you done for me lately" mentality, forgetting about all that a person has poured into them. Just listen to that song Crown by Kendrick Lamar. You can't please everybody, and people tend to get amnesia real quick. With all that Coach Prime has done, the negative reaction to his decision to do what is best for him and his family, and by extension, the Division I talent who is sure to follow him, is the equivalent of someone who has done absolutely nothing. So yes, always remember that sometimes when it comes to helping people, people can and will have a very short-term memory. Number 5, I don't know anyone who wouldn't be willing to go from 200 grand a year to 5 million, especially a man who is a living football legend and an NFL Hall of Famer. Number 6, people in general, particularly Black people, are not comfortable with seeing people expand, move on, and grow. And we all know why, so I don't have to spell it out for you, as those of you who are on a feminine journey right now can attest to getting that very nasty status quo pushback in your personal femininity journeys. Overall, changing and evolving for the better with many Black people seems to be an issue. Number 7, the Black community loves to count people's pockets. And yes, I said it. I've read cringy things such as Coach Prime doesn't need the money, or things like money isn't everything, as if people are supposed to be paid pennies on the dollar for their talent forever. Keyword forever. And just as a reminder, Coach Primetime had never promised that he would be at Jackson State University forever. And I would love to hear from the people in the comment section who feel that a person should work tirelessly for a bag of peanuts. Number 8, I don't know one Black person who'd be willing to donate half their salary to anything. And I can Vegas bet that the people who are complaining the loudest have never donated a rusty dollar to an HBCU. But I will leave a link in the comment section below so that you can leave a donation. Number 9, a lot of Black people don't know how to grieve. So instead, we criticize all day long, and we tend to make criticizing a sport. Grieving the loss of Coach Prime's leadership and his actionable masculinity is at the heart of the matter of this hurt. But it is not Coach Prime's responsibility to lick your wounds forever. And lastly, what Black athlete of notable stature is going to step up and follow in the footsteps of Coach Prime? I will wait. The entire point, ladies and lurkers, of serving your community or your people or serving your culture is to leave the world a better place than you left it. And that is what Coach Prime has done for Jackson State University. And you need to applaud him, and you need to thank him, and you need to wish him well. So ladies and lurkers, I just want to leave you with this one quote, that whomever calls someone a sellout has never been given an offer. So ladies and lurkers, what are your thoughts? Should people do what is best for their situation? Should a person stay committed to struggle to prove their race loyalty? Does the Black community need a messiah? And finally, as a Black person, are the God-given talents, the gifts that are given to you, only reserved for other Black people? Discuss. And as always, stay tuned for more insightful conversations to come. And I will catch up with you ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers in the next one.